The glow of the iPad screen lit up my face in the dark guest room. It was nearly midnight, the house silent except for the hum of the old radiator. I wasn't snooping. I just used Mom's tablet to FaceTime David and forgot to log out. But then, a notification popped up. ATM chat, new message from Ryan. Curious, I tapped. She's early again. Ask for the car repair too. I froze. My thumb hovered as more messages loaded. Don't push too hard. Let her think it's her idea. If it weren't for Melissa, we'd be bankrupt by now. But she's too naive to realize it. From my mom. Then a voice message from Ryan. Just milk it. She thinks we still love her. The room tilted. My breath caught. I had skipped birthdays, worn the same winter coat for 3 years, paid off their mortgage, their meds, Ryan's DUI fines, all of it, because I thought I was helping my family. Turns out I was their business model, not a daughter. Just their ATM, and that night, something in me quietly broke. I didn't grow up poor exactly. We had heat in the winter, food on the table, and my dad always had a project. Fixing fences, pouring concrete, patching roofs. My mom clipped coupons and made every dinner from scratch, even if it was just boxed mac and cheese with hot dogs. We weren't rich, but we survived. Then, the fall I turned 19, everything changed. I'd just been offered a full scholarship to a university out of state, biomedical engineering. My dream since sophomore year. I remember the exact moment. I got the email. I was sitting on the back porch, heart pounding, feeling like the world had cracked open just for me. That same afternoon, my dad fell off a ladder while fixing the gutter. Broke his hip. Needed surgery. Couldn't work for months. Mom came into my room that night crying, holding the hospital bills like they were death notices. We need you here, sweetie. Ryan's still in high school. Your dad. We don't know how long this'll take. Ryan, my younger brother, barely got out of bed without being yelled at. But Mom always said he was sensitive, that he needed space. Me? I was the strong one, the capable one. So I declined the scholarship. Got a job at a local call center instead. Told myself I'd reapply next year. I never did. 1 year. Turned into 5, then 10. I moved out eventually to San Jose, got into tech, worked my way up, but the bills kept coming. Can you help with the mortgage this month? Your dad's prescription isn't covered. Ryan needs a little boost, just until he gets back on his feet. Ryan was always almost on his feet. First, it was a failed music career. Then it was anxiety. Then crypto. He asked me for $5,000 once to invest. I wired it the same day. 3 weeks later, he posted a photo of his new gaming setup. Treat, he called it. Mental health is wealth. I said nothing. I told myself they were struggling, that I was lucky enough to help. That family comes first. When David, my boyfriend, asked why I sent $3,000 a month across the country, I gave him the line I'd repeated so many times I almost believed it. They need me. What I didn't say was that I didn't know how to not be needed. That without someone depending on me, I felt empty. David never pushed, but I could see it in his eyes every time I declined a vacation or postponed house hunting again. He once said softly, "You're allowed to live for yourself too, you know." But I didn't know that, not really, because somewhere along the way I stopped being their daughter and became their provider, their fixer, their fallback plan, and the worst part, I thought that made me a good person. I lived small. That's how I'd explain it if anyone asked. 1-bedroom apartment, no vacations, no new shoes unless the soles gave out. I meal prepped every Sunday, bought store-brand everything, and still checked my account before every gas. Fill up, just in case. But every first of the month, $3,000 disappeared from my account. Like clockwork, straight into theirs. I told myself it was love. I told myself it was loyalty. But the truth? It was obligation. It was guilt dressed up as goodness. I missed my own birthday once. Worked a double shift so I wouldn't fall behind on rent and send extra for Ryan's therapy dog, which I later found out he gave away because it barked too much. When? David's company planned a trip to Paris for top performers. He asked me to come with him. We hadn't traveled together, ever. He looked so hopeful. I told him I had a project deadline. I didn't. The real reason? Mom had hinted that their car was acting up, and Dad needed just a little extra help to get through the month. So instead of croissants in Montmartre, I was eating reheated pasta alone in a dark apartment, tracking my parents' expenses like a nervous accountant, and the worst part? No one ever said thank you, not once. Ryan sent me TikToks about burnout culture and memes about being broke. Mom's messages were all business: rent, meds, taxes, electric. Dad sent emoji thumbs ups. That was it. Sometimes I wondered what would happen if I just stopped. Would they call? Visit? Would they even notice me beyond the missing payment? I didn't know how to answer that, because in every interaction, I wasn't Melissa. I was a paycheck with a pulse. David tried to talk to me about it once. He said, "You're not selfish for wanting to keep something for yourself." I wanted to believe him. But the truth was, I didn't know who I was without their needs filling up all the space in my life. I didn't go out. I didn't see friends. I RSVP'd maybe to everything and never showed. I couldn't remember the last time I'd laughed, really laughed, without checking my bank balance afterward. That's the thing about being the responsible one. No one asks if you're okay. They just keep handing you weight until you break. And for a long time, I didn't even realize I was breaking. Because when your entire worth is built around being useful, you don't notice how invisible you've become. It was the night after Christmas when everything snapped. We'd finished dinner, dry ham, undercooked potatoes, the usual, and Mom had gone to bed early with a headache. Dad was half watching a rerun of NCIS. Ryan was holed up in his old bedroom, playing something loud and violent. I was in the guest room, trying to keep the Wi-Fi from cutting out on a FaceTime call with David. Mom had let me borrow her iPad since mine was dead. I meant to log out right after. I did. But then, a message popped up. ATM chat. New message from Ryan. My finger hovered. I didn't recognize the group. Just 3 names: Mom, Dad, and Ryan. I opened it. The first thing I saw was Ryan's message. "Can we ask for more next month? I want to redo my setup. She'll cave." Then Mom, "Don't be greedy. Wait until she's back in San Jose. Guilt works better at a distance." My chest tightened. I scrolled up. "She's early again this month. We should just tell her. We're behind on property taxes. That gets her every time. If it weren't for Melissa, we'd be bankrupt by now, but she's too naive to realize it." That last one was from Mom. Then came the voice note. Ryan's voice laughing. "Just milk it. She thinks we still love her." I couldn't breathe. I actually couldn't breathe. I'd brought them gifts. Handmade cookies from a bakery I couldn't afford. Scarves for Mom. A new watch for Dad. I even gave Ryan a damn Amazon gift card because he said he was trying to read more. And behind my back, they were talking about me like I was an app. A walking, talking transaction. No thank yous. No pride, no affection, just manipulation. Strategy. I stared at the screen, heart racing, ears ringing. The walls felt like they were closing in. I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there, in the room I used to call mine, listening to the wind outside and wondering how I'd been this blind. How I'd spent so long trying to prove my love with numbers, and how little it ever meant. The next morning, I packed before sunrise. Mom asked why I was leaving early. I told her work called. She didn't press. No hugs, no warmth. Just a distracted wave as I closed the door behind me. On the flight home, I stared at the window but didn't see anything. I just kept hearing that one line from the voice note. She thinks we still love her. And I realized I had never felt smaller, not even when I gave up my scholarship, not when I turned down the job in New York, not when I ate ramen for 2 months straight to send Ryan money for therapy. This was different. This was knowing they didn't love me, just depended on me. This was knowing I'd been used, willingly, lovingly, desperately, and I didn't even know who to be without them. But I knew one thing. When I got back to San Jose, I was done being their ATM. When I got back to San Jose, I didn't cry. Not right away. I unpacked my suitcase, did the laundry, ate leftovers, Sat in silence, the kind of silence that feels like a scream held just beneath your skin. Then I opened my banking app, clicked into the autopay settings, deleted every transfer, no announcement, no final speech, just silence. 2 weeks later, Mom texted, "Did something go wrong with your bank? The mortgage didn't clear." Another few days passed. "Is everything okay? You're scaring us." Then came the guilt. "We feel like you're punishing us. This is emotional abuse, Melissa." And finally, Ryan. "You owe us. You'd be nothing without this family." That one nearly made me laugh. I didn't respond to any of it. I just blocked them. Not out of spite, out of self-preservation. I started therapy. David helped me find someone good. Dr. Sandoval. Soft. Voice. No judgment. It took me 3 sessions just to say the word used. I told her about the scholarship I gave up, the years of payments, the ATM chat. She listened, nodded, and then she said something I'll never forget. "You weren't raised to be loved. You were raised to be useful," and I swear, something inside me cracked wide open. Suddenly, it all made sense. The chronic guilt, the fear of saying no, the way I felt physically sick if I even thought about disappointing them. I wasn't crazy. I was conditioned. I went back through old memories, and for the first time, I saw them clearly. Mom saying, "You're the strong one. Ryan can't handle pressure." Dad handing me bills in silence. Ryan throwing tantrums while I cleaned the kitchen at 15. I had been the adult in that house since I was a child, and no one ever noticed. Or worse, they noticed, and they liked it that way. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was abandoning my family. I felt like I was finally choosing myself. And that quiet, the one that used to scare me, it started to feel like freedom. The invitation came in the mail, gold-trimmed, thick cardstock, addressed formally like it was a wedding. "Join us in celebrating Margaret and Thomas's 40th wedding anniversary. Family dinner, formal attire." Handwritten at the bottom, in Mom's loopy script. "Hope you'll come. We're so proud of you." I stared at it for a long time. David watched me from across the room. "You don't have to go," he said gently. "Not after everything." I nodded, but I already knew I would. "I'm not going for them," I said. "I'm going to see them see me." The country club wasn't fancy, just tried to look like it. Plastic chandeliers, linen napkins that smelled like bleach, and a tired pianist playing Sinatra covers near the buffet. Everyone was there. Cousins I hadn't seen in a decade, great aunts, old neighbors. Mom wore a champagne-colored dress and enough perfume to make me dizzy. Dad had actually ironed his shirt. Ryan, of course, showed up late wearing sneakers. People hugged me like I was royalty. "Melissa, we've heard so much about your success. You're the one keeping the family afloat. Your parents are so lucky to have you." Each word landed like a slap. They'd told everyone. They'd bragged. Not about me, my heart, my work, my life. Just about what I gave. Dinner was overcooked chicken and watery green beans. David sat beside me, holding my hand under the table. My palms were sweating. Then Mom stood and clinked her wine glass. "Before dessert," she beamed, "I want to say something." She looked right at me. "Melissa has always been our rock. She's kept this family together, emotionally, spiritually, and, well, financially." Soft laughter rippled through the room. "We joke she's our little ATM." More laughter. Nervous this time. My blood ran cold. "But truly," Mom continued, "we wouldn't be here today without her. Literally." I stood up, slowly, calmly. My fingers didn't shake. "That's funny," I said, "because I wouldn't be here either. If I knew what you all really thought of me." The room went quiet. I pulled out my phone. Tapped play. Ryan's voice echoed through the banquet hall, clear and smug. "Just milk it. She thinks we still love her." Gasps. A fork clattered to the floor. My Aunt Janice muttered, "What the hell?" I scrolled and began reading the messages, aloud, one by one. "She's pathetic. Let her think she's helping. We'll sell the house and guilt her into buying it back. Tell her Dad's sick again. Mom's face went white. Dad stared down at his plate. Ryan tried to laugh. Come on, Melissa, it was a joke. No, it wasn't, I said. My cousin Lisa stood up, voice shaking. Is this real? Did you really say all this? No one answered. You told me Melissa was spoiled, that she refused to help. I looked at my mother. You built me into a bank. You used love like leverage. And when I stopped paying, you called me abusive. I reached into my bag and pulled out an envelope. Dropped it on the table. Here's your gift. Inside, a check for 0.00 and a printed copy of the group chat. I turned to walk away but paused. One last look. I'm not your provider. I'm not your safety net. I'm not your shame sponge. I'm your daughter. Or at least, I was. And I walked out. David followed, quietly. No one else moved. The only sound behind me was the pianist, starting another tired Sinatra tune. My way. And for the first time in years, I felt like I was finally doing just that. The fallout came fast. 3 days after the dinner, I got a string of voicemails. Mom crying, Dad pleading, Ryan raging. I didn't listen. I blocked their numbers, not in anger, in peace. A week later, the group chat screenshots made their way through the extended family. My cousin Lisa sent me a simple text. I believe you. I'm sorry. But the most unexpected message came from Aunt Linda. I cut my mother off at 62. You're braver than I ever was. Be proud of yourself. I sat with that for a while, let it settle in me, like warm tea after a long winter. David and I moved into a small condo on the edge of San Mateo. Just ours. Clean. Quiet. Sunlight poured into the kitchen every morning, like forgiveness. One Saturday, he surprised me with tickets to Santa Barbara, my first real vacation in over a decade. I cried when I saw the ocean. Not because I was sad, because I finally had space to feel joy. I bought myself a coat. Bright. Yellow. Soft. Unnecessary. Loud. I wore it everywhere. As for them, the house was sold, below market. No one wanted it once the tax liens showed up. Ryan works part-time now, still lives with them. They're on state aid. People talk in small towns. The pity they used to weaponize, it turned back on them. And me, I finally learned something they never taught me. How to live for myself. How to breathe without guilt. How to exist without owing anyone anything. And it feels better than love. Because this is mine. Sometimes I still get the urge to check my phone, to see if Mom's called. If Ryan sent another half-hearted meme. If Dad's finally said something, anything, that sounds like remorse. But the silence is louder than any apology they could have faked. Last week, David and I went hiking. Nothing fancy, just trees, sky, and the kind of quiet that doesn't hurt. I stopped halfway up the trail and looked around. No deadlines, no invoices, no one needing me to save them, just me. I thought about everything I'd given them, and everything they took. Then I thought about what I'd finally given myself: freedom, peace, and the right to exist without being useful. I'm not bitter, I'm not angry, I'm done. They weren't grieving a daughter. They were missing their favorite employee. But I'm not their ATM anymore. I'm me.